Okay, this is perfect now. So, YouGov America. Americans overestimate the size of minority groups and underestimate the size of most majority groups, it seems. Yeah, I want to look for it. It's funny. Okay. Estimated proportions are calculated by averaging weighted responses ranging from 0 to 100%, rounded to the nearest whole percentage. To the question, if you had to guess what percentage of American adults, true proportions were drawn from a variety of sources, including the U.S. Census Bureau, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and polls by YouGov and other polling firms. So I will say right off the bat, I don't know how reliable this list is, if it's true or not. But, but, if we, for the sake of this little segment, assume for a moment that it's all true, then it gives us a glimpse into something really interesting, doesn't it? So let's go. Let's go with the first thing right off the bat. To the left, we have true proportion, estimated proportion. So what percentage of American adults have a household income over 1 million? Estimated proportion, so this is what people think, 20%. True proportion, 0%. So it seems that a lot of people really believe in the American dream. The American dream is real. 20% of people have a household income of over 1 million. 20%. That is a lot of quite wealthy people in the US, according to the people being asked. So, right off the bat, it's pretty interesting that people assume that a lot of the people in the US are pretty well off, right? Next, this one is interesting as well. How many American adults, the percentage of American adults that are transgender? Estimated proportion, 21%. True proportion, 1%. So, if people, like 21% of people are trans, according to the people asked, like, is this part of the transphobic fear-mongering thing that makes people think that there are so many more trans people than in reality? Like 21, almost one fourth of the entire US population is trans, according to people asked. Like, that would explain the fear mongering, like on the sports toilets and whoever and whatever else, right? If people assume that 21% of people are trans, that would explain it, I guess. Damn, 21% versus 1. But those statistics actually get more wacky, if you can believe such a thing. Those things go even more wild. This is just a warm-up. Well, let's go to the next questions, and you'll see. Have a household income of over $500,000. 26% of people versus true proportion of 1%. So let's make the math here. Like, let's do the math here, right? 20% of people have over 1 million. 26% of people have over 500,000. So we've already covered 46% of all adult Americans. Right? 46% of all US citizens make, like, I guess at least 500,000. Right? 46%. So you can see that there are a lot of pretty well-off people in the US. Which is why I'm surprised why you cannot become a Patreon. Seems like everybody's like super rich in the US. Oh, thank you for the... Someone did become a Patreon. Thank you very much. I see US Americans are really poor. I understand why Bernie Sanders talks about the 1% or 0.1 all the time. As Americans, true, are Muslim, okay? 27% of all adult Americans are Muslim. In reality, 1%. Wow. 27%, huh? 27% of adult Americans are Muslim. That's interesting. Okay. Let's go further. That's I don't know why people assume that 27% of people in the US are like Muslim. Was there some sort of like a fearmonger thing around Muslim people in the US where Muslim people are like everywhere or something that people think that it's 27%? 27%. Damn. People assume 27%, 1% in reality. Okay, we continue then. I told you those numbers get interesting. Are Native American. So, people have responded that 27% of all American adults are Native American. 27%. You know what? If 27% of all adult Americans are Native American, then land back, I think, should be a much easier, like, conversation. If almost, like, 1/3 of the population is Native American of the entire country. 27%. And those numbers will add up, okay? So Native Americans, that's 27% already. You'll have to watch now. 30% of all adult Americans are Jewish. So that's already 57% of the population if we sum it up. Okay? 27% are American, 30% are Jewish. The number of American adults that live in New York City is 30%. 30% of all Americans live in New York. My favorite statistic in the entire world. 30% of all of Americans live in New York City. Okay? It's true. In reality, 3% of all adult Americans live in New York City. 3% versus a whooping 30%. Damn. So I guess that makes the US mostly like empty. Like damn. I guess like the US is US just mostly empty land? and most people just live in New York. But let's move forward. Are gay or lesbian 30% versus 3%? Okay. So 21% of people are trans, and 30% are gay or lesbian, which means at least 51% of the whole population is LGBT openly. Since this is like you know, or not openly, I'm not sure. 51% of the population of the adult population is LGBT. This is where we are in the subject for now. Alright, let's go. Let's go. Are atheists. 33% of people, according to the asked people, are atheists. We have 33% of all adult population are atheist, when the true proportion seems to be 3%. Okay? It seems, unfortunately, that only 3% of people are atheist edgelords. Only 3% atheist edgelords. Not 33%. Are bisexual. 29%. Okay? 29% bisexual. So if we sum up trans, gay, lesbian, and bisexual, we have 60%, no more, sorry, 80%. 80% of the entire adult population is LGBT. Alright? So far, so good. People in the US, when asked, express belief that 80% of the entire population is LGBT, which is pretty interesting, right? Right? So there we go. Yeah, all adults, of course. But keep in mind, Sister Rose, this is not a list of how things are. This is a list of how people estimate things are, versus to their left in orange, how things actually are, true proportions. 4% of people are bisexual, right? Not 29% as people estimated when asked. The blue proportions are what people estimate. The left proportions are the actual real proportions from what this list says. I'm never mad. I'm never mad. I just have to say it I have to say it dramatically because I have to do content and stuff. If I don't say it as if I was angry, then I'll be a boring streamer and nobody will watch me. You know? It's a streamer's duty to always be angry and scream at the chat. Okay, let's go. Are a member of a union. 36% of all adult Americans are part of a union. So, the US is a country of unions with very strong unions since, well, in reality it's 4%, but the assumed amount is 36%. So the US is a country of strong unions, is what we're learning from this. Very good. And people whine about unions being, what do you mean we need more unions? 36% of all adult Americans are in unions already. Just want more and more. Oh, are vegan or vegetarian? 30% of all people in the US, adult, are vegan or vegetarian. How does the meat industry even function in the US if 30% of all adults are either vegan or vegetarian? I don't know. I don't know what year this is from. It's a good question, but unfortunately I don't know. It doesn't say the year. So in the year of X, 30% of adult Americans are or used to be all vegan or vegetarian. So there you go. In reality, it's actually 5%, which is admittedly a lot. 5%. 5% is not a small number. But, yeah, are Asian. 29% of all adult Americans are Asian. Right? So there we have it. I'm gonna whip out my calculator for this because remember, we already have the numbers before it. Calculator. The percentage calculator. We had 27% of people that were Native Americans plus 29% of people who are Asian plus 30% who are Jewish. 86%. 86% if you add up Native American, Asian, and Jewish. That will make 86% of all adult Americans. Alright? So there you go. Are a military veteran, 40% of all adult Americans are military veterans. So the US is in other words a country of military veterans. 40%. No wonder people get so angry when bad empanada craps on the US Army veterans. They're 40% of the whole population of adults. Right? Damn. The US is like a big military base. And you're either a soldier or you're a veteran, I guess. There are only two genders. Soldier or veteran. Right? 40%. Damn. Gotta admit, that's a lot of veterans in the US. But you know, it is what it is, right? Country of soldiers. Country of soldiers. No, Wivocho. You misunderstand. This doesn't say men. It says American adults. So women included. Don't be sexist. Live in Texas. 30%. Right? So I'm gonna remind you that... Where was that other thing? I'm gonna remind you that 30% of people live in New York. 30% live in Texas now. So 60% of all US adults live between New York and Texas. Which is pretty incredible. That all Americans just live in a few cities and I guess the rest of the US is empty or something. Alright. We've pinpointed where all of the people are. 34% of all American adults are left-handed, which is actually 11% is the real number. 34% left-handed. Nice. We're gonna bolster it with a poll. Are you left-handed? Don't lie, I will know. If you lie, I will know. No. 100% no left-handed. No left-handlers. 80%. Let me see how this sort of, well, let's see how this poll tracks with the estimation. 20% of people. My gosh. Alright, moving on. 32% of people live in California. Right? So 3 times 3 is 9 and 2. 92% of all adult Americans live between the cities of New York, Texas, and California. So all Americans sort of decided that they just want to live in those three cities, or I guess states, and all others like empty, right? Like 92%. Sorry. Sorry, it's the law. I don't know. Do they even count? So there we go. So the number of American adults that are black, 41%. 41%. 41% of all adult Americans are black. Let's do the math. 27% of people are Native American, plus 30% are Jewish, plus 29% are Asian, plus 41% are black. You know what? You can be Jewish and you can be any of the things. So for the sake of this, we will exclude Jewish, because a Jewish person can be Asian, a Jewish person can be black. So we're not gonna include Jewish. So Native American, 27%, plus Asian, 29%, plus 41% black. 97% of people, 97% of all American adults are people of color, because 27% of people of the American adults are Native American, 29% of all American adults are Asian, and 41% of all American adults are black. So that means, technically speaking, while we're talking on racial lines, this is a racist list, so technically speaking, you're right, but let's forget about that for now. Let's forget about things like that for now. So 97% of all American adults are people of color. I can't believe this. So I guess they are only 3% of all American adults are not one of these groups. True. This is why white people are the most persecuted group, right? Have an advanced degree. 37% of all adult Americans have an advanced degree. In reality, it's 12, but the US is an extremely well-educated country. True. A super majority, 97%, of course. But keep in mind, please keep in mind, that 33% of all American adults are also first-generation immigrants. 33% of all adults in America are first-generation immigrants. Right? From now on, it's not 1350 anymore. It's 4150, okay? It's not 1350, it's 4150, okay? I guess people listen to Donald Trump too much. True. 33% of people are first-generation immigrants. I mean, tell me that does not explain a lot. Like, we must stop immigration. 33% of all adults are already first-generation immigrants. We are 1/3 first-generation immigrants. Like, oh, right. That's a good. I mean, we already know that you either live in New York, Texas, or California. It's like, might as well do a poll for I live in. I already know there's no other choice. So, New York, Texas. And if you don't choose any of those, then you're just lying, I guess. There you go. We have pinpointed that you probably live in one of these three places. Ask your community. There you go. Don't even try to lie to me. Because I know that 92% of all Americans live in one of those places. So don't even try it with me. I know what's up. I know what's going on. I know your number. All right, let's go. Oh, a new stat. 39% of all adult Americans are Hispanic. All right, Hispanic. So we add to our 97% of people of color, we add the 39% of Hispanic people plus 39% of Hispanic people. So, as it turns out, 136% of people are people of color. And you say that the white genocide is not real. 136% of people are people of color. Let that sink in. Okay? Let that sink in. There are no white people in the US. In fact, there are minus white people in the US. The math does not lie. There are no white people in the US. So think about it when you next blame things on the cis straight white man. Think about it the next time you try to blame the cis white straight man for anything. There is no such thing as a cis white straight man. The statistics prove it. There we go. There is no such thing as a cis white man, especially not straight. So we move forward. We are learning a lot from here. Okay. 41% of all American adults are Catholic, right? Which, of course, actually only 22% of adult Americans are Catholic, which is like actually that is a lower number than I expected, but you know, the craze. Although this is a misleading thing, right? This is a misleading thing because while 22% of American adults are Catholic, you have like 1 billion different nominations in the US, right? So someone might not call themselves Catholic, but might be one of the 1 billion other things that is effectively a Christian but of different nomination, right? I'm right about this, right? Just because you're not a Catholic, it does not mean in the US you're not a Christian, right? Oh my god, 80% for the proportion of gay people. Oh my god. Well, thank you, Butterwagon, for this. Thank you for this context. I just checked and the median estimates are more accurate, so there must be a substantial portion of people guessing like 80% for the proportion of gay people. God. My gosh. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So just because there's only 22% Catholics, there might be a lot more percentage of people just being of other denominations, right? Exactly. That's what I assumed. That's what I assume. 54% of all Americans own a gun, while apparently in reality only 32% of all adult Americans own a gun. So as you can see, the US is not as gun-owning a country as one might assume, right? I actually thought more people in the US had guns. I actually thought it was over 54%. But people assume it's 54%. And the actual, I mean, I would assume it's fairly tricky to, it's fairly tricky to really estimate how many people own guns in the US, right? Isn't there a lot of unregulated gun ownership in the US when you can get a gun but there isn't really but it's not really tracked where you got the gun from. Is that a thing, or is that not really a thing? Tell me, please. Tell me, please. Thank you. Many gun owners own multiple guns. Guess that makes sense. Guess that makes perfect sense. Have at least a college degree, 47%. So see, it looks like a 33%. Actually, when it comes to have at least a college degree, the actual estimate is not that wildly off from the actual figure is not that wildly off from the estimate. The estimate is 47%. The actual number is 33%. So, I mean, it is a big number, but not as wildly different as all the other above, right? Yeah, but they might be not hiding the fact that they own a gun, but it would make it different. It would make it more difficult to create an official percentage of how many people own a gun, because most people, when you make those percentages, you don't physically go out into the world and count people that have guns. You have a gun, you have a gun, you have a gun. You take some documents that sort of trace who has a gun and who has not a gun, and you make those numbers based on documents saying who has a gun, right? You don't physically go out into the city and count all the gun owners, right? Like, that would be pretty ineffective method of checking who has a gun. True. I mean, technically speaking, what's the opposite of open carry? Hidden carry? Stealth carry? Technically speaking, you could just say, like, I stealth carry, or whatever it's called, right? Even if you don't have a gun, you could just say, I carry not open carry, or whatever, right? I carry. You say that, right? If you don't open carry, you just say you carry, right? Is that a thing? Concealed carry. There we go. Moho knows it all. I concealed carry. 100% of Americans own guns, trust me. I see. As an American gun owner. True. Have a household income over 100,000. So basically all Americans earn at least $100,000, right? Because 100,000 is 38%, and like, people in the US are loaded. Like, I would like you to once again consider becoming a Patreon, because this is not, people in Poland do not earn as much as people in the US. Actually, that is quite close to reality. 34% of all adult Americans apparently have an income over $100,000. We are looking at a list of what is the people's estimation of how things are in America and what is the reality. Blue number is the estimation of people asked. Orange number is the actual number, right? So actually, that's not interesting. 45% people have a passport. In reality, it's 37%. In reality, it's 37%. That's not really such an interesting. 51% of all people in US, adults, are Democrats. 56% are obese. Oh, damn. In both cases, 42% is the real number. 42% of all American adults are Democrats and also obese. And that's it. At the end of this list, we have learned, in reality, 42% of all adult Americans are Democrats and obese. Obese Democrats. 42% of all adult Americans are obese Democrats. which directly means, because I know how to add 2 and 2 together, 2 plus 2 equals 4, and you cannot persuade me that it's any different. Being a Democrat leads to obesity. You see the evidence here. Being a Democrat directly leads to being obese. I didn't expect to learn that today, but here we are. Here we are. So there we are. If you have enjoyed this segment, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, hitting the bell, becoming a Patreon, and catching the streams live. Thank you. I'm sure that Somniostatic can add some super cool effects to this exciting segment